Signs, signs, everywhere there's signs. Yeah, there's a song about that. Let's add some more. So what I'm going to do here is I'll show you just real quick how I lay out and design signs. And I do a lot of these are made out of this as part of a cedar fence picket. You can get these at your home store and they're relatively inexpensive. And the reason I like to use these are they're excellent for outdoors because they're not going to rot, at least not very easily. They stand up to weather well, and they burn very, very dark with a diode laser. And of course you're limited to a nominal 5.5 inches wide and 6 feet high. If you're going to make a sign that tall, you better have a long laser for that. But I needed to make some here custom for a customer, and I also make some of these for fun and as a little bit of a gag gift. So I'm going to show you one of them here. This is a gag for a fellow that we're about the same age, and he's always talking about slowing down and slowing down. So caution, slow man at work. But anyway, with that said, I'll get on the computer here. I'm going to show you what I'm going to be designing. Some more or less or no trespassing signs and video surveillance signs. So get on the computer here, I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, give you an idea what I'm doing here for a layout. My piece of wood is 5 1/4 wide and 19 inches long. That's the size I'm going to be making these signs, and they're going to be mounted vertically. So I made a tool path here. That's what the orange line is you see here. That's the tool path. So if I would click on that here, you'll see up here it is 5.25 wide and 19.29 high. Now I will be rotating this 90 degrees when I actually go to burn on the laser, but for design purposes it's a lot easier to do it when everything's upright. But I'll show you what I mean here. So I'm going to start out with private property here is what we're going to start out with. And I'll get that position the way I want it. Now I'm going to make a vertical word of the word members. So to do that, I'm going to go to my text here, and I will hit enter after each letter. That'll make things come out vertical. So there's my word members. Now I'm going to need to make that larger. I don't quite know how much larger yet, so I'm going to bring it over here kind of in the middle. And lock the lock here. Oh, let's see if we make that 2 inches wide. That's going to be just way too big. Only what I was thinking. An inch wide. Now then I need to position that. And I'm liking that. So now I need to add a couple bit at the bottom here. It's going to say use only. So the whole sign is going to say private property, members use only. So back to my text here. So it's going to be looking something like that. So now what I'm going to do is select the whole thing, and I will group it. Now that that is grouped, go up here to arrange and rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise, and that puts it sideways the way it's going to be sitting on the laser. Okay, I've got it laid out on the laser here and it's going. I see I have some scorching. I turned my air assist pump up to max when I saw that I was getting scorching, but I think that's going to be having to do more with the board itself than with settings. Normally I don't get that, but every once in a while you'll get a board that'll just be different for some reason. I've got some other ones to make here. If it repeats, I may change some of my settings, although that will send off very, very easily. Okay, my second sign I'm going to make here is, I've already got it partially put together, is notice all activities monitored by video camera, and I've got this size for the cedar fence picket as well, at least I think I do. Yeah, 5 1/4 wide. So I'm going to put a little picture of a camera in there, a video camera. So what I've done is I created one using AI. I know some people think that's cheating, but so here's my security camera. So scooch him over here, right click on that, and I'm going to trace the image. So it look like so. Now obviously that's way too big. So we'll take the height down to maybe 3. See how that looks. Bring that in. Kind of centered. And it'll look like that. So yeah, I've got 2 different signs going on the same file here, but they're for the same place, so it'll be easy to keep track of. Now when I go to make these, what I'll probably do is turn these on their side too. Just rotate that 90 degrees counterclockwise, so that one will also be on its side. So when I get done doing this one over here, I'll just slide it off the workspace and I'll slide this one in. Just that easy. Okay, so what are settings? Okay, I'm using a 40 watt laser. It's the xTool S1. I was going to use my WeCreate 45, but the bed wasn't long enough to get the bigger sign in it. So using the xTool S1, and my settings for the offset fill, that's all the lettering, is 9,000 millimeters per minute at 90% power. And my line, which is the black there, that is 8,000 millimeters per minute at 55% power and 2 passes. That way I don't get any extraneous scorching on that. So, take this to the laser. So I'll give you a couple of examples of these signs now that they're made. The smaller one, which is for video surveillance, kind of be a deterrence to those honest thieves, I guess we'll call them. And of course then we have the original one that I needed to make, which was the private property members only, members use only. So, you know, cedar fence picket. These things are great. Okay, so what's this coated with? It's got 3 coats of automotive lacquer on it. When I say automotive lacquer, it's the type of lacquer that's made like you put on a car. So it's meant to be out in the sun, and it will tolerate that just fine. You know, so does an orange peel? Well, yes, it does a little bit, but it's not a show sign, it's a functional sign. We don't need to go for that super gloss look on it like a show car. So there's something you can do with your laser. Again, I was originally going to use these because they're right here handy, but they weren't quite big enough for the bigger signs here, so I had to use my xTool S1. Settings are in there based on a 40 watt laser and based on using cedar fence picket. Now, as you saw, some of my first one's scorched. I had scorch marks big time up here all the way across, but it must have been the piece of wood because the following ones didn't do it. But it did come off with a little bit of sanding, and it's just fine. It'll work. So no problem there. So if you got anything out of this, appreciate getting a thumbs up. Always helps the channel. This is not sponsored by any means. Just wanted to show you something you can do with your laser. Little side project, make a little bit of extra money. Well, people are always looking for signs and unique signs. And you can do some comical things too if you wish. So with that said, Roger in the loft above the shop. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.